to Kind Hearts, Strong Souls podcast, where reality and courage take the mic and hope leads the way.
The conversation of three friends united by work and held together by mutual care and support. Join Jodi as she moves through the challenges of a cancer diagnosis. The conversation is frank and honest, while also being caring and supportive. The voices explore the real pain and fear of cancer, the strength of faith and friendship and hope and optimism that shines even in life's darkest hours. Whether you're a survivor, a supporter, or simply someone in need of inspiration, this conversation will remind you that even when the road is very hard, hope is harder to break. Well, hello again, and welcome to our 7th episode. It's hard to believe we've been through 7 podcasts already. The time goes very fast. Returning after episode 6, where we had Dr. O'Neill on, who really, I think, created one of our more sort of fascinating episodes. And I have to tell you that I enjoyed watching my two colleagues light up, yakking with a handsome young doctor. But we're shifting gears today and maybe turning towards something that is a side of the illness that perhaps we don't want to talk about sometimes. And that is that this does take a toll on our spirit. And so we're going to talk a little bit about Jodi. Now, if you knew her like I know her, Jodi is like a cross between the Energizer Bunny and somebody that's very positive all the time. But that positivity is not like an on-off switch, and it's not without other pressures. So what we'll explore today is those things that sort of feed that side of Jodi's personality. We'll talk a little bit about love, and she's talked about that with her husband, Stephen, and faith, and the importance of friendships, the importance of community, and those kinds of things, and how they contribute to Jodi's quality of life, even on days when the quality of life doesn't feel super duper. So with that in mind, I'll say, hi, Jodi, how are you?
Hi, Ken. Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
We were just saying we're all preparing for some colossal snowstorm, and somebody will listen to this in August and say, what's wrong with those people?
Right. And don't forget the frigid below zero weather that's going to accompany
Yeah.
that.
The snow.
Yeah. Yeah, that snow. Yeah.
Any,
So, hi. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ken. That was a great introduction. Um, I'm actually on the heels of my Dana-Farber visit. So, if you're not on Facebook and you didn't get my update, everything was well. My scans were good. My lab work is always a little wonky. So we expect if it's not wonky, then something's wrong. And the scans were good. Everything's at bay. And I'm in a good place, which was really good because before I left, I didn't really have a good feeling for some reason. I just was not thinking in a positive light about this upcoming scan for some reason. I felt off. And so it was really nice to get the positive news this time around, for me anyway, personally. Yeah.
it's the shorter days
Beautiful.
of winter. I think they get us
Yeah.
all a little wonky.
Yeah, they do.
Mm.
They do. So as Ken mentioned, fighting this horrible disease with a positive attitude and a sense of humor. I'm sorry, I'm dog sitting right now, and my grand puppy just winced out in pain. So I'm just assuming my cat attacked or whacked at her
No.
nose or something like that. So I think she's fine. Um, yes, fighting this horrible disease with a positive attitude and a sense of humor. For me, there really wasn't any other way to approach this. I can't handle everything in my life, but I am in charge of my attitude. And so I choose to be positive all the time when I can. And I'm not saying I'm positive all the time. I'm not. Um, but I do have a sunny disposition. I have a positive outlook in all things. Yellow is my favorite color. If you read my book, you'll know that. Sunshine is what Stephen calls me.
Oh.
So it's just the aura I bring and the feeling I have in my soul. That's how I feel. Always positive, always a sunny disposition. So when you're hit with this kind of bad news, you know, where do you go? You go up or down. And I wasn't going to go down. So up was the only choice for me. And it's not easy. Nobody ever said kicking cancer's ass is easy. It's not. It's not easy having a positive outlook when you constantly don't feel well. Um, it could be debilitating and sometimes even confusing to me. And we knew going into this that it was going to be the fight of my life, and it still is the fight of my life. But I choose to continue to fight through it with grace and dignity, and that's that's how I'm going to approach it, and have approached it, and will continue to approach it. And why, why do I choose to be that way, other than because that's the way I am? Well, I choose to focus on purpose and love, um, accepting help when I need it, finding strength in faith and community, and managing my physical symptoms with compassionate care. I also choose to view my journey as a testament to my resilience. And to me, resilience is not the absence of pain, but the ability to move through it with hope. And I talk a lot about hope because I have a lot of hope. My battle with cancer has challenged me deeply, yet it has also shaped my growth and broadened my perspective on life. Through my struggles, I discovered many strengths I never knew I had. Positivity and resilience remain my guiding forces, going forward with my treatments, with everything in my life. So for the most part, like I said, I tried to stay positive. It's not always, it doesn't always happen that way, but I try. I mentioned before on my podcast that I've had some really dark days, and I have. I When I was first diagnosed, I lost my job um, at the law firm I was working at, and it was unexpected. I was expecting them to stay with me and support me through this. However, when my FMLA was exhausted, they they fired me, and it was hard, very hard to remain positive. It's really still hurts me to this day. I struggle with that, um, and how that all went down. But what can I do? I didn't do anything wrong. I got cancer. That's why I was fired. At that same time, I don't forget I lost my friend Doug. I was recovering from my first surgery. Um, During that process, in the bigger picture of that process, I lost my mother. So like it all piled on top of me, and it was really, really hard to remain positive. Um, and don't forget, I had to get my mind and my body ready for my second major surgery. And those were some of my darkest days. They were hard. Um, I I struggled a lot. I talked a lot with Stephen, and I read a lot from my my prayer books. In fact, I read one prayer I kind of want to share that really, really helped me when I was in those dark days. It went like this. It was a prayer written in a prayer book, so it's not a prayer I wrote, but it's one I read a lot. It says, "Lord, I'm in the valley. It's deep and dark and low. My feet feel leaden, my soul dry. I can't see you, yet I know you are there. I suffer, but your promise is my comfort. It sustains my life, and today that is enough. And so that I would do that. I would say that over and over. And it really did help.
Mm, mm,
I also struggled with my self confidence and my self worth, especially after I was fired. I felt like I was losing a grip on everything I knew, everything I worked for, everything in my life. I just felt I was losing it. Um, but then Stephen
Hmm.
would always remind me that I'm in the fight of my life and nothing else matters. This is what I need to do, fight cancer. And he reminds me I'm on the right side of cancer. Um, he always has a way of putting things in perspective when I'm down. He reminds me I am worth life and I will not let cancer or anyone for that matter take away my pride or my self worth. I have to remember who I am and who I came from. An extremely strong mother.
Yeah. Do you think, I was talking about this podcast with a friend who does not have a Stephen, does not have a partner.
Yeah.
And she said, I don't know how I would do it. It's almost like he was your therapist. I mean, those are therapist words. You didn't have to have a therapist through all of this,
No.
did you?
Well, I really didn't have time for one. No, he was all of it. He was my husband, my partner, my the father
Sounding
of my
board. Yeah,
children, my sounding board,
yeah.
my caregiver,
Hmm.
my eyes on the ground. Like I relied on him for a lot of things. Um, so yeah.
It's amazing you
Um,
got through all this, and his
yeah,
words of wisdom are really helpful, I think.
yeah. He does
They
come
keep
through.
reminding you of that.
Yeah. And my family and friends too. I mean, how can I have a podcast without mentioning how all of you guys continue to cheer me on, offer me support, words of encouragement, kindness. My friend Shauna wraps me in a big pink bubble that
Mhm.
nobody can penetrate. So, I have all of that. And despite all of the happenings in our world today, I still believe in human kindness. And I'm honored and thankful to be surrounded by such beautiful friends and family. And whether y'all know it or not, you provide me with the strength and determination I need to continue this fight. And for that and so much more, I thank you. I thank you all.
mm.
So if you read my book, then you know what the ending said. It says, I don't know how my story will end, but nowhere in my text will it ever read, I gave up.
Mm.
And I didn't. And I had one more last reminder, or not a reminder, but just something Ken had mentioned earlier about I'm a mix between a Energizer bunny and what was the other one, Ken?
Something very positive. I can't remember
Yeah,
exactly what I said, but yeah.
yeah.
But you
I
are. I mean, you're very energetic, even considering,
yeah.
you know,
I
your overall situation. I find you incredibly energetic.
I personally, and I think I've mentioned this before, I love hummingbirds, and I think the hummingbird is my spirit animal. And so I wanted to just read my mother-in-law and father-in-law. My mother-in-law has since passed away. But when she was alive, her and my father-in-law sent me a beautiful reminder in a card. And this is really what I want to end this podcast with. And what it says, legends say that hummingbirds float free of time, carrying our hopes for joy, love, and celebration. The hummingbird's delicate grace reminds us that life is rich and beauty is everywhere. Every personal connection has meaning, and that laughter is life's sweetest creation.
Mm.
Wow.
Isn't that nice?
Hmm.
I'm a big fan of
So
laughter.
I feel that the hummingbird is really my spirit animal. But I do like the Energizer Bunny idea.
You like
We used
that?
to call my mother that on actually.
Nice.
Well, I think that
Yeah.
creates a picture for all of us. So
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
I'm probably not so good on the spirit animal thing. I'd probably be a basset hound or a Saint Bernard or something like that. But anyway, um,
Yeah.
I appreciate it, Jody. I remember early on when you and I met, when you came to Harvest Web, and one of the things that you said is that, in spite of these things, I get up every morning, I get started. I think you probably said I do my hair and
I
you
did.
know, I go out and face the world, right? And I think that's very, very admirable because I think a lot of us, if we got into the same situation, we might find ourselves like, no, I'm just going to chill, stay in bed, whatever. And I'm
Hmm.
not sure that that's always helpful to people,
Mm.
because I think the world just becomes smaller. It just becomes that room, that bed, and
Yeah.
it just gets small.
Mm.
It isn't very helpful, but um, I mentioned earlier before we came on the podcast that I was kind of in a funk. That's what I call it, a funk, the past couple of days, and not really sure why. There's nothing going on. Just was feeling funkish. I didn't want to go anywhere, talk to anybody. I just wanted to be alone. And
Hmm.
so for me, Ken, it's almost the opposite. I kind of need that downtime to re-energize me
Right.
and get me to push myself back out there again and be
Right.
like, go girl, get up, go get this. You got it. Don't let this bring you down. So I kind of need that little bit of downtime to remind myself to keep pushing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's I think those downtimes are kind of that kind of comes to us. Um, I I don't face anything like what you face, Jody. So don't misunderstand my comments. But in times of discouragement, I say to myself, okay, Ken, you've got your 20 minutes now. You can have your little party for yourself in any form you want it, but then you got to get going again, and
Hmm.
and I think that time to, I'll call it a reset time, or to put it in
Hmm.
computer language, to reboot, just to remind yourself, um, that you have come a long way in life, that you have been able to do a lot of things, that you have obligations to those that love you, like Steve and your kids, now a grandchild and another one on the way, and all those people and that great crowd of Facebook followers, right? All those
Hmm.
people are kind of watching you and looking to you for a certain strength that they'll draw too, you know.
Yeah.
That's kind of the old, like, if Jody can, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
And
I hope
the
they do
people on
that.
the podcast can't see, but I'm sort of shaking my fist too, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I
I
guess
hope
there's,
that.
go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, I hope that's what's happening, Ken, because that's the intent, right?
Right.
Is to help anybody who, and it doesn't even, you don't even need to have stage 4 cancer. You could
Right.
just have any sort of issue going on right now where you might need some positive juice or a little pick me up or something like that. I mean, I need it.
Sure.
I need
Hmm.
it.
Mhm.
So I can only imagine other people will need it as well. And if I can provide just one other person a little bit of positivity in their day, or help them put one foot in front of the next, in front of the next, in front of the next, and see how much easier it might get, then I'll be happy. I'll
Yeah.
be so happy.
Yeah, and I'm sure you do. Just seeing those comments and people calling you warrior princess and all these other things. I'm sure you
Yeah.
do have that role in people's lives.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Well,
there's one other. Go ahead. I'm
like
sorry.
I said, I'm honored and thankful for all of my friends and connections
Mm.
off, even off Facebook. I have, I have, I have a group of people at church, and I have a group of people. I go to bingo every Tuesday night. You probably didn't
That's
know
right.
this, but I do. And
G7.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so I have people who look for me every Tuesday night to make sure I'm walking in that door. And if I'm not, one or two are going to email me and say, "Are you okay? Why didn't you come to bingo today?" So I have these group. I feel like at my grocery store, I have a set
Nice.
of checkout tellers and a manager who, when I walk in, will come out and talk to me. And so it's not just Facebook. I feel like I
Various
have
communities.
It's
Yeah.
your communities.
Right.
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
They're
exactly.
so important for
Yeah.
everyone,
It to me they
especially.
are.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Yes.
the other thing that I think of, um, uh, I don't want to get like too corny here, but just being transparent. You were mentioning your scans, and I don't know what that interval is, 4 or 5. No, I guess it's more than 4 or 5 weeks. It's more like 10
3 months.
weeks, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, three
Something,
months. Every
three
3 months I
months.
go.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that would be 12 weeks. Um, but one of the things that I think of as I pray for you as you go to those scans is the 23rd Psalm, which is something that we normally associate with death. I don't think that it always speaks to that because it talks about being in the shadow of death. And I think that is probably the ugly side of the scans is
Mm,
am I walking into the shadow of death here? Or is that where I'm going?
hmm.
But the 23rd Psalm also says, but thou art with me, right? That
Yeah.
you're not walking into those things alone.
Yeah.
And
And I think next episode we are going to talk about my scans every 3 months
yeah,
and how I feel, as they approach, and what I go through when I'm down there, and that sort of thing.
right, right,
Um, so, the anxiety that it genuinely kicks in about 2 weeks before I go, and Stephen recognizes it immediately.
sure.
And so we'll be talking about all of that on the next podcast.
And I think any of us would be anxious in the unknown, right?
Hmm.
The unknowns always create like what's going to happen, right? That
Yeah.
kind of thing. So good.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to get an episode ahead there. Sorry.
No worries.
Anything else, Brenda? Did you have something else?
No, I think it's exciting to hear Jodi planning for a trip to see the Yukon women play basketball coming up after this
Yes.
snowy and cold weekend. So, um, I'll be thinking of you having a great time and the time of your life doing that.
And please pray that I get a Gino bobblehead. Please pray.
Gino bobblehead. Wow.
That's
Okay.
my goal. I have to get a Gino bobblehead.
She will. She will.
I'm sure if
Yes.
anybody will, you will.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
good. Good. Anything else before we close?
No.
No? Okay. Well, let's have a word of prayer. Father, thank you for thank you for Jodi. Thank you for the spirit that you've given her. Not only the strength of spirit you've given her, and that's shown in the way that she's very positive and very energetic, but the resilient spirit you've given her to kind of brush herself off and keep going in the times when maybe circumstances don't look as good or feel as good. We thank you for all that she means to us, not only us as friends, but us as listeners and us as those surround her, even those at bingo. And we're grateful. Um, we ask that you would continue to be with her. We ask that you would heal her body, that you would give those that treat her, like Dr. O'Neill and others, great wisdom and great insight in the treatments that they do. And we thank you that we live in a time when you've allowed us to discover the things you have. we do ask that for all of us, when we go through those more difficult times, that we'd be reminded of your presence. And, we would have eyes and ears that would look to you and listen to you. We thank you for one another. We thank you for the time we've had. And we just ask your blessings on our further days. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. From our kind hearts to your strong souls, thank you for listening. Your support helps us share hope, so please leave a rating, leave a like, subscribe to the podcast, and share frequently. God bless you all, and go Yukon.